Hi everybody, Elizabeth here from Petals and Parchment. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. Today we are working on our Do-Si-Do journal using the kit Springtime Reverie, which is available in my Ko-fi shop. When you join my membership, the Petals and Parchment Papery, you get a kit every month with a new theme. This theme was the idea of our member Katie, who actually won the challenges in January and got to decide a custom kit theme. It's a vintage kit with a French theme, and it's sort of shabby chic. It has a bird and cherry blossom theme, and so far in this series we've constructed the cover and sewn in the signatures. And instead of decorating the cover, I'm going to postpone that for another time, and we're going to focus on pockets today. So if you haven't seen the first video, go ahead and check it out. I'll link it down in the description. But today we're just going to talk about different ways you can make pockets and some helpful tips for inserting pockets throughout your journal that you may or may not know. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to mention is that so each week in the Papery membership, I add bonus pages. It could be anywhere from 2 to 10 pages. It just depends on what I come up with that week. And this week I've done some background pages and some pockets, and those come out on Friday, so those are kind of like a Friday freebie, the bonus pages for the membership. And this is what the pockets look like, and then there's I think four or five background pages as well. So this is what the pockets look like when you print them out full size, and obviously these are way too large for our small journal, and you could cut them out and cut them down. But another thing that I wanted to show you, which I actually highly recommend, is playing with the size of the printables. So I generally tend to give bigger because it's easier to shrink it down than it is to make it bigger. So I'll start by giving you the big one, and then you can just play around with your printer settings to get the size that you need for whatever journal that you're working on. So for instance, this is printed to full size, and then this one is printed to 8 by 10, and there's a little box when you are printing that says fit to picture frame. So in this case I did 8 by 10, and then I just unchecked that box, and that gave me a slightly smaller pocket. Still a little bit too big for this journal though, right? So then I went ahead and printed 2 5 by 7 size, and this is actually what we'll be using today to make a great many of our pockets. But I just wanted to show you that the same printable can give you so many results. Just with this one sheet, I got all of these different size pockets, and what's really cool is if you put a different color cardstock through your printer, then you get an entirely different result. So here I did the same 2 5 by 7 but on pink cardstock instead, and I got quite an awesome result. And then yet another tip would be to print one of the backing pages on the back of the pockets, so that when you cut it out, then you have twice as many options. You can just flip it over after you cut it out, and you'll have lined pockets instead of the ones that the artist may have intended. You get twice as many pockets, so you could really put any backing sheet in the entire kit on the back of your pocket printable, and then have completely different pockets, even though you may have only gotten one set of pockets in the journal kit. just by flipping it over and cutting them out with something on the back, you get a completely different result. So really, the possibilities are limitless when you think about a digital kit and the many different ways that you can print it out. Here I wanted to take a moment to show you what I was talking about. Go to the computer and pull up the file that you want to print. You're going to look for the page that you want to print and highlight it, and then right click on it, and right here where that arrow is pointing to, you're going to select print. And then you're going to get this menu popping up, and then here on the right hand side is where you can choose the size that you want. Another thing you can do is print on vellum, and so that's another fun thing. These are sort of clear see-through, really pretty translucent pockets when you print on vellum. You can get vellum at any craft store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Poor Joanne is going bye-bye, so maybe you can get a good deal there. I think they're like 20% off right now on all of their inventory. So but yeah, so another thing you can do with the vellum, you can stack it on top of the regularly printed pocket, and then you have sort of like a sheer but vibrant print. You can also use the ephemera in the kit as a pocket. So I went ahead and I printed all of my ephemera out and cut it out already, but one of the pieces, for instance, that comes with the kit is this antique, I think it was like a business card originally, or maybe it was like some kind of a calling card or greeting card that you would send to somebody. I've removed the script from it, so I can't remember what it was originally, but anyhow, this is perfectly suitable as a pocket. Obviously, this one's a little bit too big for that purpose in this particular journal, but if you just glue this down on 3 sides, you've created a pocket that comes pre-decorated, and then you can write on this, or you can glue other things on top of it. I've also printed the back side, so you could choose to use that side as well. And if you take a hole punch, you can punch a half circle in the top of it, and it looks just like one of these pockets that comes with the kit. So that's another idea. So another way that you can use the pockets that come with the kit, you can put it on a piece of scrapbook paper or scrap paper in your stash, or maybe you made some painted papers. You just take this pocket and you trace it onto your paper and then cut it out. So that's another way that you can use pockets. In addition to using different types of colored cardstock or printer paper, you can also use different weights. You can use photo paper, you can use resume paper is a really nice one. It has a really nice feel to it, and it soaks up the ink very well. You can also use tracing paper if you glue it down to a regular piece of paper first, or rice paper. So really playing with the paper that you're using will get you so many varied results. You can have so much fun just changing the paper up. Now, if you just have a strip of paper that is perhaps a scrap like this, you can just cut it in a strip and glue it down on 3 sides, and that will be a side tuck pocket. You can use the pockets that we have here to make stacking pockets. So you would just stagger them a little bit like so, and then you'll have a series of 3 pockets down your page. You can also emboss on your pockets. That gives it some interest. This one has a cute little bird on it, which matches the theme of the kit very nicely. You can decorate your pockets with stamps, stencils, and layers of fabric. One of the tips that I wanted to be sure to mention is to make sure and stagger your pockets or spread them out throughout the journal. You don't want to just start in the front and do all of the pockets up front, because then it'll be heavy and bulky up front. You want to try to spread them out, so maybe put 1 pocket in the front, 1 in the middle, and 1 in the back, and then fill it with ephemera, and then see how thick it is, and then add another pocket somewhere else and try to spread them out throughout the journal. That way they're not all stacked in one spot. So those are some tips that I was thinking of. Let's go ahead and make some fun pockets. This particular pocket has 3 pockets. So it has this see-through one at the top here. And then it has a side pocket right here. And then you flip it over, and I've turned it into a hidden paper clip pocket. And there's another pocket back here. And this was inspired by Steph at Hilltop View Journals. She is really incredible, so definitely go check out her video. I'll link the video for this one down in the description. And so we're going to make one of these today. Thanks for the idea, Steph. That was really great. I'm not sure if I followed her tutorial exactly. I'll try to remember what I did here, but you just open the envelope and glue it shut. And then you're going to fold this up as high as you'd like the pocket. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut open a very thin strip all the way across, trying to be as straight as possible. I am not very good at cutting a straight line. And then I do want the top to have an opening, and I just found it was easiest to cut the whole length here and then just glue this portion shut again after I get the inside filled with some scrap paper. So you'll just want to put something inside that's pretty to see through the window, like so.
Feeling where the edge of the plastic window is and attempting to trace a cutout so that I can cover the front of the envelope without blocking the see-through window. The easiest way to do that is to use carbon paper, and then you place the carbon paper and the paper behind the window, and then you would just sort of draw on top of the paper, and it would leave a little black outline for you out of the carbon. Then you could just cut that out. That's the easiest way, but I'm not sure where my carbon paper is, so I just started trying to find the measurements the best I could by lifting the paper and drawing little marks for myself, and then using a ruler here and a pen to connect the lines so that I could cut those out. I would highly recommend that you don't use a pen either. You could use a pencil, and then that way you could erase any lines that you sort of did outside of the border that you created. I used a pen, and you'll see when I cut this out that there's still a little bit of pen showing. So the great news about paper crafting is that if you make a mistake, you can just cover it with more paper. So I'll let you continue to watch this, and thank you for joining me during my first ever voiceover. I hope I did an okay job here explaining what I was doing, because I was so engulfed in trying to figure out what I was doing during this portion that I didn't say anything, and I figured I better come back and let you know what I was doing. And I'm so glad that I was able to do this voiceover. So here we go. We're just going to collage, and regular audio will resume here in just a moment.
Okay, so I'm just going to glue this side shut here. And then I'm going to add some paper back here. using up some of those scraps. And then I'm going to cover this piece first. Then we're going to put the paper clip over this and just use a scrap paper to glue that down. Then we're going to glue these two sides down right here. So now we've got the hidden paper clip and a pocket here and a pocket here. Then we can decorate the front. This was a pink piece of paper that came under a stencil. Just collage on top here and cover up all the envelope underneath. I found with collage it looks nice when you sort of stagger everything and build up layers and put things in different directions. I don't want to cover up that 222 if I can help it. This is like a sparkly pink. And just by adding that one piece going the opposite direction, I think it really brings it all together. You're thinking, oh, this doesn't look great. Just keep going, keep adding layers until it starts to look good. Just keep twisting the papers and laying them on top of each other in different directions until you find a composition that you're happy with. Then I'm going to trim off the excess on all sides. Okay, sorry if there's a glare. So I've gathered some little bits of things that I thought might be pretty to decorate our pocket with. So I've got some, I don't know, this is kind of like tissue paper with little fibers in it. And then this was some avocado dyed cheesecloth, some lace, some brown lace, some white cheesecloth shreds. Then I've also got like an applique with sequins on it, which is really pretty. Corrugated cardboard is another really great thing to use. I've got all of my fussy cuts, and then I really like to keep my textiles separated by color, so any little scraps that I get that are pink go in here, and then when I'm working on something that very specifically one color palette, I can just grab the box and I have all these little bits to work with already to hand. I got this idea from Sophie at Sophie's Crafty Corner. This was a big game changer for me, so thank you, Sophie. That was something that I will use forever. Right now I'm just going to focus on decorating the cover of this a little bit. So I think I'm going to use some lace here and maybe some of this pink cheesecloth, and it's not quite pink enough for me, so I'm gonna ink some pink on there. Ink a pink, maybe make it a little pinker. There we go. Put that behind the lace on top, and then maybe the applique on top of that. See how that looks. And I think it's still missing something, so I'm going to maybe look for a little birdie or a sentiment to put on there. I think I'm going to take away the cheesecloth. This is where I just sort of experiment until I find something that I really like. Maybe bring that cheesecloth back up under this. What do we think of that? I think I'm liking the bird cage. Maybe I'll place that up a little higher so you can see more of it. I like that. I'm just going to go around the edge of this with a little more pink, help it stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to stick that down. If you don't want to lose your spot, you can lift it one piece at a time, just on the top. Push it down, give it a second to adhere, and then flip it and do the same on the bottom side. This helps so you don't lose your placement of everything. Okay, there's that 3-pocket pocket we made out of a junk envelope, inspired by Steph at Hilltop View Journals. So now all we have to do is let this dry, and then we can stick it in our journal. And the good part about this is that it also is removable. So if we wanted to do like a belly band perhaps across the middle of a page, it would take up about that much, and then we could simply hook this to the front of it, and then it's removable. If you wanted to, you could leave off the paper clip and put it in a pocket, and then it will have 3 pockets and still be removable. If you wanted to, you could leave off this whole back pocket and just do this size and glue it down to the page, and then only glue it on 3 sides, so you have a pocket in the back and then you have the window pocket. Or you could glue it on this side, and this side, and then have a side tuck and the top one. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about pockets. You're really only limited by your imagination. Another thing I wanted to show you, I had found these coin envelopes at the Dollar Tree, and I ended up only needing the bottom half of one for some reason. And so instead of throwing away the top, then I just glued this bottom portion shut again, and then now we've got a tiny envelope. And you can stamp on that. You can decorate it with digitals and fussy cuts and things like that, and really just further personalize your journal. So look, I didn't even try. I just stuck down all the things I had left on my desk, and it actually turned out really pretty. I'm going to say, if you haven't seen the first video, I made a boo-boo, and I made my spine here super small. I really needed to leave a much bigger gap, like at least a ½ inch to a full inch right here, and I think I gave myself about a ¼ inch spine. So I'm gonna have a gator mouth showing you all the things that I wanted to do. So have fun creating pockets with all of these ideas, and I'll do a flip through of my pockets here when I get them added to my journal, and I would love to see yours. Add them to the Facebook group. I have a surprise for people who post in the Facebook group. That announcement is coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have so much fun playing with paper. Until next time, bye!